It was cold, desolate, and dark. Although Rex, a soldier turned nobody, in his airtight spacesuit couldn't feel much of the outside, he knew that the air was thick with the scent of blood and decay. He held his AR to his chest, feeling the trigger as he aimed into the darkness. He knew that if he did not defeat this creature, this hive mind, then the lives on Earth and the lives on this planet Exo were sure to be finished. Fear ran throughout his body, forcing his muscles to stay silent, but slowly making him quiver. Although the people of Earth did not know who he was, or even care for his existence, he knew that they all depended on him at this very moment. After a minute of hesitation, he leaped into action, running into the darkness, knowing that heroes are not the ones without fear. It is the ones with fear who decide to take that leap of faith into the unknown. Every character in a movie has that turning point, a development, a spark, a dream, something that pulls them out of that daily cycle and brings them on a journey of self-fulfillment, struggle, and success. This is the foundation of every story. This is the foundation of every life in this room and in the world we know. Although we all have one, how do we discover our story and our passions? I am Amberley Novikoff, and for a while, I did not know what I wanted to do in life. I knew I wanted to do something creative, I just didn't know what that creative endeavor would be. All my life, I had been making projects, from little characters to mini skits for my family to participate in, so what was I supposed to do? At first, I thought about becoming an architect. I like to build houses in video games and also make mini models of houses with cardboard, so why not try? After a bit, once I opened my computer to research architecture, it only took 30 minutes for that idea to be thrown away because, math. Anyway, then I thought about my interests again. And this time, instead of thinking about something creative, I thought about my love for learning and exploring outer space. So why not become an astronomer? I thought this job would be good for me because it would make me money. But I ended up straying away from it because it didn't feel true to me. After those experiences, my mind was at a standstill. I was already having a tough time with making decisions, but in this case, there was nothing to decide on. That made me lose motivation, and for a bit, I gave up on searching. I knew that someday I would find that spark, but I started to doubt myself. I wanted to know who I was going to be now, but I simply had to learn that I can't force my way into life, and that what can't be controlled will never be controlled. Eventually, I wound up in a moment I only thought happened in movies. It was a Wednesday afternoon, and I walked into the house exhausted from another day of school. I walked over and sat on my living room couch, feeling the fabric graze my hand as I reached for the remote. Turning on the TV, I found myself automatically scrolling to my favorite show, Transformers Prime. As I watched it, I mimicked the characters' hand gestures and words. I practically had the show memorized, having found it at a young age. And in that moment, I got that deja vu feeling. When I was 8 years old, I was sitting in that same exact living room, bored out of my mind. I had nobody to hang out with, and I didn't have a phone, so what was I gonna do? I looked over to a table where all my Lego creations lay. Maybe I could build something. It's too tired for that, so why not watch a show? I crawled along the couch to the remote and started scrolling through the shows, one after the other. Some I had already seen, others were new but didn't catch my interest. Then I found that same exact Transformer show. I was intrigued. It was something that I had never seen before. And in those first minutes, all I could see in my mind was the characters and their interactions and how they connected to me. One of the main characters had a bike, and I was excited by that because I had a bike. Then another character was introduced, and he liked to live in his own world, and he didn't have many friends, and I felt like it was me up there. That is the moment where I learned that I love storytelling, especially when it was on a screen. It had only been 7 years later that I would realize my passion. The thought of becoming a director and showing my creations to the world was too good of a dream to push to the side. The next day, I ran up to Krista and I said, I have found my passion. I am going to become a director. Ever since that spark, I've only continued to grow the fire of my passion. I used creative outlets like Rec Room, a virtual reality software that allows you to build out and create games in a physical space. I have worked on many projects on this platform, even starting my game building group called We Build 'Cause Yes. I know, such a creative name, right? I created my first mini film with them called Mission EXO, giving me more experience in film creation, camera angles, screenwriting, and how to direct actors. Another item that I learned during this time I worked on Mission EXO was how much words and sayings become when you hold on to them. One day, I met up with my mentor, Don Ponce. We were walking around the neighborhood talking about projects, teams, and ways to make some bang for your buck. We had sat down at a bench in a park, and even though this conversation was more than a year ago, I still remember his words. I had asked, how do I make a team efficient but also make them not feel constricted? His response was simple. You can't control the uncontrollable, so control what's within your horizons. Your words and actions are something you can change, but you can't change what other people think or do. You only can influence it. When going into my second hands-on project, the Lip Dub Quest, that quote stuck to me like bubblegum stuck to your shoe. Unlike other quotes I have heard, I actually implemented this one into my life, not only for film, but for every other small aspect in my day-to-day encounters, improving who I was as a person. Now, the Lip Dub Quest was an even better experience than Mission EXO. In this project, I was again the director, but I had the entirety of the Launchpad studio as my team. The whole process of filming the lip dub was extremely fun, but the best day I experienced was on the only pre-production day we had. All of our teams were working on different pieces of the puzzle. We had the screenwriters, the prop group, the producers, the editors, and the directors, which was my group. As the leader, I went through the steps, gathering locations to film, looking for places with the best lighting for the actors, figuring out all the props we needed, seeing if it aligned with the screenwriter's vision, and so on. This was an extremely fun and productive day, and it gave me the sense of fulfillment I had been searching for. Even though it was just a taste, this project set my career in stone. I knew that this was the job I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Now, throughout the time I have worked on mini movies with my friends and team, I have always had a positive experience. But I have come to find out that others who are farther along in the film industry than I am have not had the same experience. They are overworked and treated poorly. That is something I want to change. I want to make the behind the scenes of films more efficient, fun, and kind to all those who work on them. I want others to be proud to have worked on a movie that I created, not because of the end product, but because of the work that they put in and how they were treated. Now, what project am I going to utilize to make this change? At the beginning of this speech, I told you about a soldier named Rex. He, in fact, is the main character in a movie called Lost at Space, a movie that I am currently writing. My creative process in making these stories is simple. I take something, build it up, wait a second before deconstructing it and turning it into something new. I had been doing this ever since I got my first Lego set when I was 5, and was determined to do this with Lost at Space. Originally, this story was a video game I created in my freshman year. There wasn't much actual story, but I had environments, and I knew I could take those further. So 2 years ago, I set out to do just that. Since the original game, my skills with the in-game creative tools have been leveled up more than my past self could ever imagine. With 1,000+ hours of creation time on this platform, I was able to take scenes like this bunker entrance and this planet and recreate them into these in the new version of Lost at Space. As you can see, I took the basics of the gate and the rock structures and I built them into something new. Now, as I said, I am also writing Lost at Space into a screenplay and a book for a movie. I am currently going through a course to complete this, working every day to get to my goal. Once I have finished this screenplay, I want to approach companies like A24 Studios or DreamWorks to help make this film possible. I also have ideas for shows, other movies, and much more. I have ambitions and goals, and I am going to hit them, but I need your help. This summer, I will have the opportunity to attend a 3-week, $2,000 summer intensive in UCLA. This filmmaking intensive will take me from the very beginning of making a film to the final product. At UCLA, I will network with others who are in the film industry and gain opportunities to work with people who share my passion. With this, I promise to take what I learn and go forth into the film industry. I promise to create healthier and more productive environments in the industry, and not by controlling others, but by controlling myself. I promise to fight on, and just like Rex, I will continue to know that having fear is okay, and that it is the ones with fear who decide to take that leap of faith into the unknown, into their next great adventure. Thank you so much.